At a crowded shopping center, Margaret, an elderly girl with silver hair tucked smartly underneath a headband, slowly made her manner through the throng of consumers. Her cane tapped softly on the bright ground as she cautiously carried a small grocery bag packed with end result and greens. The chatter, the clatter of heels, and the distant song of the mall made her actions careful and planned. All at once, a teenage boy, Jason, driven past her recklessly, elbowing her shoulder. Margaret stumbled and fell to the ground, her bag tearing open as apples and oranges scattered across the tiles. Gasps rose from close-by shoppers, but Jason Handiest laughed, smirking as he glanced at his pals. His friends snickered and pulled out their telephones, recording the scene as Margaret struggled to sit up, her fingers trembling from pain. A security guard rushed toward her, problem etched on his face. However, Jason waved him off with a cocky grin. "Loosen up, she's nice. Vintage human beings are too gradual for present-day places besides," he said, laughing. The crowd murmured uneasily, a few shaking their heads, but nobody stepped forward. The ecosystem felt aggravating, a mix of embarrassment and anger that nobody dared voice. Just then, a person in a crisp, army-healthy seemed from the opposite facet of the mall. Michael, Margaret's son, strode via the group with measured steps. He knelt beside Margaret, gently lifting her to her feet and accumulating the scattered end result. "Are you okay, mother?" he requested softly, his voice calm, however filled with care. Tears welled in Margaret's eyes as she nodded. Jason rolled his eyes, simply unimpressed. "What is the massive deal?" "She's simply antique," he muttered, shrugging. Michael straightened, his eyes locking on Jason. His voice was quiet, however company, sporting in plain authority. A heavy silence fell over the mall. Jason froze, his smirk vanishing as he found out the gravity of the situation. Allow them to see precisely how their children deal with elders. Margaret positioned a trembling hand on her son's arm. "They don't recognize, but," she whispered, her voice mild despite the sting of the incident. Michael regarded around at the group, elevating his voice barely so anyone ought to listen. "From today, my mall could have one rule," he declared. "In case you cannot appreciate human beings, you cannot step interior." Applause broke out most of the onlookers, some nodding in settlement, even as Jason's head hung low in disgrace. The instant lingered. A quiet lesson in dignity, appreciate, and the electricity of standing up for those who are frequently disregarded.